All right, good morning and welcome to the Helpful Homeschool Rant. I have a fellow barefoot runner with me today, John. And John said, hey, Dad, you haven't done your rant in a while. Why don't you do one on video games? So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to tell you what I really think about video games. And it's not good, so you might have to cover the kids' ears up. Video games to me are pretty much the biggest risk to young boys anywhere. It doesn't matter if they're wealthy or if they're poor, lower socioeconomic levels. Video games are out there lurking for your kids, and all their friends play them, and they're about literally the worst thing in the world. And that's because they hijack your kid's brain. No longer is your child thinking about socializing. They're no longer thinking about going outside. They're no longer daydreaming. They're not doing that so-called pretend play. Their brain is completely off. It doesn't matter how complicated the game looks. It doesn't matter if it was designed by Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or anyone else. Unless it's chess on a screen, that video game is really an obstacle to your child's brightest future. And, the problem is parents think that, video games are somewhat educational. They're afraid to take them away from kids, and they underestimate how bad they are. What a video game does is it gives your kids dopamine rushes. Dopamine, that's the same thing, I believe, that heroin manipulates in the brain. But a video game with all its flashing lights and quick changes, it manipulates the player or the gamer's orienting mechanism, their fight or flight response. And that's why it feels so good to climb new levels in a game and feel like you're conquering something. I keep hearing the word self-mastery used in a positive light for video games, and nothing could be further from the truth. Yourself is getting mastered, all right, but it's getting mastered by the enemy of their brain. And I have never met a 10-year-old, 12-year-old boy who was struggling academically, struggling to fulfill their potential, who didn't have video games as a culprit. I used to ask parents, when I met these parents with the struggling boys, do they play Minecraft? And I stopped asking that question. Now instead I ask, how much Minecraft do they play? Because it's always there. And one day in the future, hopefully the not too distant future, Apple, Sony, Microsoft, all these companies, someone will hold them accountable for what they're doing to our children. But in the meantime, as parents, we have the ability to just say no. As hard as it seems, you got to do it. And trust me, it's well worth it. All right, that's it for this week's Helpful Homeschool Rant. I hope it was helpful.